with you. First of all, and I mentioned this in an email, if you would, Connie's thinking hard right now about great programs for next year, so please send Steve Bosner and Connie at least one or two good program ideas for the year ahead. Judy Freeman asked me to reach out to you all. So she's working really hard on the 100-year booklet to commemorate our 100th year. And we need pictures in the 75th anniversary celebration. So that was held here in 1998. So if you have any pictures from that, or if you know of anybody who has pictures from that, if you would please let me know. Well, one of the best things we get to do is to induct new members. And it's my privilege today to invite Tyler Baker to come up and join the club. So I'm going to read a quick brief intro on Tyler. All right. So Tyler Baker, glad to have you with us. He's a native of Marietta, but eventually found his way to the Grange after meeting his now wife, Allison Branch Baker. A lot of you know Allison. She grew up here. They met in college at the University of Georgia. He and Allison have a 2.5-year-old son named Wyatt, and they're expecting another baby in the next couple of months in May. So Tyler earned 2 degrees from the University of Georgia, one in housing policy and one in financial planning. He's a certified financial planner and the founder of Baker Wealth Group, LLC, helping corporate professionals, business owners, and retirees make the most of their financial resources. In just 2 years, his firm has grown to more than $30 million in assets and served families nationwide. So Tyler was an Eagle Scout. We all know what a great accomplishment that is for a young person. He's always invested in the communities he calls home. During his 5 years in Texas, Tyler was inducted as a lifetime member of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Did you ride? Yeah. Really going to be blown away if he rode. So. But he served as a committee member also for the Rodeo Wyoming auction. Now a Granger, Tyler is a proud graduate of the Grange Local class of 2004. Welcome. Okay, all right. Sorry, you should have given me a heads up.
That's all right. I'm going to sit.
That's all right. That's all right.
We're delighted to welcome you to Rotary. We have the world's newest Rotarian is the Rotary Club. So we always like to take advantage of this time to remind all of us that the Rotary 4-way test of things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? We have this back to your office.
Thank you. So I do want to remind you all that we're looking forward to our Star Student and Teacher Program on March 27th. There was a ceremony, a really nice ceremony, out at the Creek County Schools Administrative Center on Monday, and recognized all the Star students and named the Star student for the county. So you'll still get to hear from all of them. You'll still get to meet the Star student for the county and the Star teachers. Just really appreciate you all working that going on so we can. So do have just a couple of minutes. Who's happy today? Who has something to share? Cheryl.
I know. On your tables are QR codes for the event we're hosting at Think Healthy Career Academy called Think, spelled the way it is intentionally. Think like an adult. We're going to have a simulation day for our students to experience what it is to be an adult. They'll all have profiles of their lifestyle, the children, no children, married, single, income, FICO score, all of that. And they'll have to go around and all the simulations, housing, utilities, rent a car, automobile, banking, all of those, to see how much what they can do with the money that they have. So we need volunteers. If you'd like to volunteer to sit in one of those booths, torment our children, that would be great. Just scan that QR code and you'll be able to sign up to be a volunteer. Thank you so much.
Okay?
I'll actually have to owe you the dollar. Just to say you're here for Rotary Fellowship. I sit down on the table over there mostly to speak to Sandy and our guests. And just as with the introductions, I realized that I worked with Jonathan's father when I was in high school in Waynesville, North Carolina. So it's a small world, and it's nice to establish these fellowship partners.
Thank you. All right.
I'm gonna have to do, I owe you, because I don't have money. I apologize. I just wanted to say thank you to Father Tim and the parishioners of St. Peter's Church, because this weekend, they allowed us to be the West Georgia Community Interact Club members, held a fundraiser. It's called Help Kiss Polio Goodbye, and walked in the bales of Hershey Kisses for a donation. And together we went to 3 different dances, and the donation ended up to $470. But it doesn't stop there. With Bill and Melinda Gates, they give $2 for every dollar we raise. So the kids and encouragement of St. Peter's actually are responsible for adding to Polio Plus over $1,214. So thank you so much.
Yes. She doesn't speak folks. And so she was emailing me within about a day or two of her surgery. I pictured her retraction in the hospital with a laptop just going at it. But she wanted me to remind you all, Alzheimer's buckets on your table, that you have some spare change or dollars, we'd love to have your donation. So let's jump into our program. So again, we're excited to have you with us today. I'm going to ask Eric Marks to come up and make our introduction.
Well, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our guest for this afternoon's program. I asked her if she'd like for me to say anything else, and she said, no, just stick with the script. And we'll stick with the script there. Denise Björholm, Swedish. I looked that up on my phone and it didn't sound anything like what she just shared. So I thank her for helping with that. Before assuming her role as Associate Director of Operations and Communications at NAMI, Georgia, Denise was the Executive Director for NAMI Connects, a local NAMI Florida affiliate. She's been associated with NAMI for the past 5.5 years. Got that information. During this time, Denise has been involved with several behavioral health community projects, such as the Wellness Connection, Behavioral Health Integrated Navigation Model, Peers in Recovery Mentorship Training Program, Children's Mental Health Initiative, Pinellas County Mental Health Court Steering Committee, and has worked on several community health assessment needs committees. She currently is a lead presenter of NAMI's signature program, Ending the Silence. She was awarded St. Petersburg Healthier Together Ambassador for Mental Health. Most recently, Denise was featured in St. Pete Cats as an influencer for her work in mental health, in the mental health field. I apologize. Denise is a proud graduate of USF, University of South Florida, for those of you that may not know, where she earned her Bachelor of Science in Administration. Last point on here, I must say it because she's looking directly at me. Go Bulls! Let's give a warm welcome to Ms. Denise Björholm. Amen.
it's so nice to present about mental health because sometimes, mental health gets pushed to the side, nobody wants to talk about it, but I'm here definitely to talk about it. So, what is NAMI? NAMI stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. We are a national organization. Our headquarters is in Richmond, Virginia. Then it trickles down to the state level. We have 49 state offices. NAMI, Georgia is one of them. We are hosted in Atlanta. From the state office, we have our local affiliates. And I say they are the boots on the ground. We have somebody from one of our local affiliates. They are the boots on the ground that help deliver our programs and services. Throughout NAMI, we have over 600 local NAMIs. Right here in Georgia, we have 22 affiliates. As of last month, we had 22 affiliates. Hopefully, we'll have 23 by next year. But what does NAMI do? Our core values, we have the four-legged stool. NAMI, we provide support, education, outreach, and public awareness. We do that so all individuals who have been affected by mental illness can build better lives. We do this free of charge, that we are a nonprofit. Not only do we help support the individual that's been diagnosed with a mental health condition, but we also support the family member, the caregiver, who takes care of the individual. So we have two platforms. We are a peer-led organization. We are the largest peer-led organization in the country. We are not clinicians, but what I like to say is we are the subject matter experts with the lived experience. I myself am a family member. I have a loved one who's been diagnosed with a mental health condition and with a substance use disorder. So I can truly relate to family members. And when NAMI presents, we always make certain that it's peer-led, meaning that we have somebody that has that lived experience, whether they are facilitating a support group, teaching a class, doing a presentation. We ourselves know what it's like to be in the trenches with our loved one. We also know what it's like for somebody to be diagnosed with a mental health condition. So we have that relatability factor to our audience. Next slide. Obviously, we have our mission and vision. Our mission is that we empower our affiliates to provide advocacy, education support, and public awareness so that all individuals affected by mental illness can build better lives. Next slide. Like I said, we have 21. We just got our 22nd affiliate as of last week, so we'll add them to the list. But actually, no matter where you go in Georgia, you will have a NAMI affiliate, hopefully near you. If not, we're always looking to talk to individuals about creating a local NAMI chapter in your area. But NAMI, we connect with everybody, with all sectors of the community. Obviously, with our peers, our family members, behavioral health agencies, we work with a lot of therapists and agencies. With hospitals and schools, we do presentations to schools. One of our lead presenters, defending the silence, is in the audience, Tracy, so she knows what it's like to go into the schools and present to middle and high school students about mental health, more importantly about suicide, about the effects of suicide, and make certain that you tell a trusted adult if you or somebody you know is hurting themselves. We deal with colleges and universities. And then, of course, we deal with the public sector. We, make presentations to civic organizations like yourselves about mental health and about what we do. Besides our support groups and education classes, NAMI Georgia, we also have a helpline. This is a non-crisis helpline, but it's an information and a resource helpline. We are available Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We normally get anywhere from 150 to 200 calls a month. Mostly from family members, just reaching out to us, not knowing what to do or where to go. So NAMI, we have, a database full of resources that, we provide. We refer people to, mental health agencies, to therapists, anywhere where you can get treatment. We also make certain that they know about our support groups. That is the core of NAMI work, is to offer free peer-led support groups. And then really quick, I know we have some mental health
clinicians out in the audience. But again, 21% of U.S. adults will experience a mental health in a year. That's over 50 million people. That's where we get the 1 to 5 will experience a mental health condition. Jumping down to youth ages 6 to 17, 20% will experience a mental health disorder. That's 7.7 million people. What's interesting about this statistic is that, again, when you deal with children, a lot of children will have signs and symptoms of a mental health condition at the age of 6, but normally it takes around 7 years for an official diagnosis. The reason is because, if any of us are parents, grandparents, right, when our children are growing up, oh, they're kids, they'll just grow out of it. And as the years go on, especially that middle school age, right, it's that pivotal point where we realize, you know what, they're not growing out of it. Maybe it's something we need to look more further into. So even though it's 6 to 17, normally the first diagnosis really sometimes does not happen until the age of 14. And then of course, you can go next slide. And then I want to talk about the caregivers. Like I said, with NAMI, we have a platform for peers. We also have a platform for caregivers. Why? Because 8.4 million people, I'm one of them, in the U.S. provide care to an adult with mental or emotional behavior. That averages out to about 32 hours per week of providing care, meaning that they're calling to make appointments. They're driving their loved one to appointments. They're checking on their loved one. Are you taking your medication? Are you going to therapy? So I definitely want to recognize the caregivers out there because, again, when somebody has a mental illness, it truly affects the whole entire family. And that's why NAMI has the platforms for the individuals, and especially for the family members, for the caretakers, for the friends. So when I talk about family, it's very broad in definition. Family could be anybody. Family member, co-worker, colleague, or next door neighbor. But again, mental health is more than a state of mind. Here at NAMI, we also like to make certain that people are doing the holistic approach as well, right? Make certain that you're getting out there, walk, journal, exercise, do something that makes you happy. Along with, of course, going to treatment, if you're on medication, take your medication, go to support groups. But there's other ways of working on your mental health as well. So what is mental health? Again, we all experience mental health. Like physical health, we have mental health. And being mentally healthy means being able to enjoy life, feeling good, and also dealing with our emotions in positive ways. What are mental health conditions, what they are and are not? Obviously, a mental health condition is a medical condition, just like physical health, we have mental health. These are the conditions that change the way somebody acts and feels. What mental health conditions are not, it's not your fault, and it's not the individual's fault. And that is a stigma surrounding mental health. It's like, oh, it's the way that they were raised. So we try to erase that stigma. It could be a trauma. We'll see it a lot, right, in veterans, like, well, they're fine when they, went into the service, but because of a trauma, that might bring the onset with PTSD of a mental health condition. Same thing with children, right? There's a lot of trauma in the world, and that could also lead to a mental health condition. But the bottom line is it's not anybody's fault, and that's something that NAMI always preaches. Again, kind of know the warning signs. I won't get too much into this, but we all get depressed. We all feel low at times. But if these feelings linger on for more than 2 weeks, or you notice either within yourself or a coworker or a family member or a friend that their behavior is changing, maybe their appearance, right, is not the best anymore. They look very disheveled. They're not communicating. They're not going out anymore. These are questions to ask, maybe I need to check on them. Maybe I need to ask, hey, is everything okay? And this is where NAMI comes in. This is where our helpline comes in. You can always call the helpline. We don't treat or diagnose. However, we can at least put you in the right direction to get that, medical assessment. Next slide. Can you go on the next one? So what does NAMI do? As I said, we have 2 tracks. We actually offer around 17 free programs for the individual, really, for the community. We have our educational classes. These are classes where you dive a little bit more deeply into mental health and what it is and how it affects your family and also you as an individual. So we have basics, family to family, peer-to-peer, smarts, and Homefront. Homefront actually is geared for veterans. Again, we know that, being a veteran, you have sometimes your own language, you have your own experiences. So anybody that is teaching our classes, they are peers themselves. So the individuals that teach our Homefront classes, they are veterans, so they can really connect and communicate with the people that attend those classes. Our peer-to-peer, that is for the individual living with a mental health condition. We have peers that are now living in recovery, but are sharing their journey with mental health and that are able to connect with the individuals that attend those classes. And then we also, have some classes for the providers. So anybody out there that, wants to, learn more about, well, I have, clients that come in that I think they do have a mental health condition. How can I relate to them? What do I need to know about mental health? So we have classes for people as well. And then, of course, the core of our work, what NAMI was built upon, is our support groups. I like to say our support groups are a complement, to somebody that's going to therapy, that's, seeing a psychologist or a therapist. If somebody is waiting to get into an appointment or they're in between appointments, you can always come to NAMI. We have classes that are in person. We also have support groups that are online. So no matter where you are, we offer over 100 support groups per month, whether it's for the peer or whether it's for the family member. And again, these support groups are facilitated by somebody like me, a family member, who honestly knows what you're going through. So these are great places to come together, to connect, and to share your experiences and make certain that you know you are not alone in your mental health journey. There are a lot of people out there experiencing the same life experiences that you are, and we're here to help. And then, of course, we have our presentation, Ending the Silence. I'm the lead presenter. We have Tracy in the audience. She's a lead presenter. This is one of my favorites. This is where we go into schools and we talk to middle and high school students. And then we also expand this as college students because we know that college students have a lot of pressure on them. So we're also bringing this to college students. And then we want to remind everybody, hopefully everybody has heard of 988. Please raise your hand if you've heard of 988. Okay. If you haven't, please do. 988 is the number that came out last July. 988 is a suicide and crisis hotline. So anybody that's experiencing a mental health crisis or is thinking about suicide, 988 is the number that you want to call. You can still call 911. If you do call 911, you want to probably ask for a CIT officer. These are crisis intervention trained officers, that they know how to deal with a mental health crisis. But 988, they actually have trained crisis counselors that answer those hotlines. So this is a very important number, 988, to remember. If you or somebody you know is in a crisis, please reach out. And then again, as I was saying before, NAMI, we pride ourselves in being stigma-free. And there are 3 ways that you can be stigma-free against mental health. One of them is to educate yourself and others, like we're doing today. You invited me to come so we can talk about mental health. Number 2 is see the person and not the illness. This is a big one. If somebody had cancer, you wouldn't say, oh, this is Denise, she's cancer. It's like, no, this is Denise, she's been diagnosed with cancer. And actually, I am a cancer survivor as well. But when you have a loved one that's been diagnosed with a mental health condition, they normally refer to them as that condition. Oh, this is Joe, he's bipolar. This is Sue, she's schizophrenic. That is a condition. We need to remember that we need to see the person and not the condition. So here at NAMI, we are very careful in our language and how we introduce people and how we acknowledge individuals. We say they've been affected by, they've been diagnosed with. Same thing when we talk about suicide. You'll hear, a lot, oh, they committed suicide. We like to, or we don't like to say, but when we heard of somebody that has maybe attempted suicide, or they completed suicide, or they died by suicide, because when you use the word commit, automatically, oh, they did something wrong. And again, that's a stigma. We're trying to erase that stigma. And then number 3 is to take action. Advocate for yourself. Advocate for your loved one. It doesn't mean, marching on, your official doors, which we'd love you to do, to talk about behavioral health. But again, if you have a loved one that's been diagnosed with a mental health condition, maybe you can advocate for them when you go to the doctors with them. Let them know that these are the behaviors I am seeing in my loved one, or this medication is not working for my loved one. If you have younger children that are in school, you can advocate for them. Talk to their school, talk to their teacher. There's a behavioral health, represented at the school. Talk to them about, I think my child might need maybe a 504, or maybe, an IEP. That's all the different ways that you can advocate. So by educating yourself, seeing the person, and taking action, these are 3 ways that you can help eliminate stigma when it comes to mental health. And then, of course, we are a nonprofit, so how do we do this for free? Well, we raise funds, we do grants, but we also have the largest mental health walk in Georgia. It's called NAMI Walks. We've been doing this walk, it'll be 20 years this year that we've had the walk. We have over 1,000 people meet us at the Capitol, and they walk themselves. They walk for their loved ones. They walk for their friends, their family. And it's a great opportunity for us to come together and to raise awareness around mental health. So I will leave it at that. I'm trying to get my before 20 minutes. I did good. I have 2 minutes left. So if anybody has any questions, please let me know. I'm here to answer any questions. Yes,
We talked about it a little bit at the table, but so 2 years ago, I know advocacy is part of what's going on. 2 years ago, the theme of the legislative session was mental health. It seems like funding maybe didn't follow that. So I guess my question is, for this legislative session, what's going well and what more is needed?
Great, thank you for that. Just so you know, Georgia ranks, we teeter between 48 and 49. We teeter back and forth with the state of Florida when it comes to funding for mental health. Yet Georgia ranks in the top 5 for the state that has the most behavioral health cases. Legislation last year, we were fighting to get more money. We found out that there was about $1 billion in reserve, money that has not been spent. That we need that for mental health. This year, we are working on, a lot of it is due to licensing. There is a work shortage gap in Georgia, as our clinicians know. It seems to be just a lot of red tape for somebody to get licensed. So we're working right now, we're working with the legislators to help pass laws to ease the way people can get licensed. So there's not so much of a hold, there's such a long process to do it because we do have a shortage of mental health practitioners in the state of Georgia. So that is, one of them. Again, increasing our funding for mental health. It goes back to the work shortages. Also, we're working to get MPAC units. MPAC units are units that we're trying to get in hospitals because when somebody is diagnosed with a mental health crisis, a lot of times either you go to jail, which is unfortunately our largest mental health institution when it shouldn't be because they don't know how to treat mental health, or a hospital. So when we go into a hospital, what we're trying to do is create these MPAC units where it's a separate room for somebody to come into, and we will have mental health professionals there, we'll have peers there that can help the individual, because a lot of times it could be, a couple of hours for somebody, to work through their mental health crisis. So these units will have a nice, comfortable room, so it doesn't feel more of a hospital atmosphere, where they feel comfortable, where they can sit, where they can relax, and work through their crisis. So that's another legislating that we're trying to push, getting funding for these MPAC units to go into hospitals? Thank you, that was a great question. Yes.
And you mentioned jail, so I was going to ask a question of that. I prosecute Mr.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a whole lot of cases that come through with mental health through COP. Years ago, we established a court system here in mental health court that deals with mental health issues. Also, the sheriff has placed in his jail a mental health professional to deal with the people coming through there to have, just like the jail nurse, they now have a jail mental health person.
Yeah.
Got that in. We are, as the justice system, trying to address it. But are y'all working with the justice system to try to, one problem we run into, yesterday, I was trying to resolve this problem, we had a mental health evaluation requested in October. And it's taking so long to get through the state system. And so sometimes they're sitting in jail, sometimes they're out in the community. A lot of the misdemeanors they present, for example, 2 cases came through yesterday where somebody was in the backyard of residents. Well, that's terrible for the person that's got somebody in their backyard that they don't know who it is and mentally ill. It's also terrible for that defendant because justice can be taken in somebody's own hands if you're trying to get in their back door. Are y'all doing anything with the jails? What are you doing? You know, is that a resource
We are.
that can help us facilitate?
No, that's a great
getting through the
question.
system?
So what we're trying to do is that, if we go back and we talk about our support groups, we actually have one affiliate that's trying to do support groups in the jail. Again, to bring our service in there. So we have somebody, who was incarcerated, they were here, so they have that experience. So yeah, we are trying to work with the accountability courts, with the court system for us to allow us to come into jail and to do support groups. So again, as that individual has been waiting from October through March, at least we can come together and offer some type of support groups. That is something that we are working on. And again, yes, more funding to equip the jails. And like I said, unfortunately, as you know, the jails are one of our largest mental health facilities, and it shouldn't be. But it is because, again, when people think of mental health, they think of it as a crime. When somebody has a mental health condition, an ambulance doesn't come, a police officer does. And what happens? They put them in handcuffs, they have to do protocol, they put them in their cars, and they take them away. They don't do that, though, when somebody is sick physically, but they do that with a mental health condition. And this is where they end up in jail. So yes, the jail has a lot of pressure on them because, again, they're trying to assess and diagnose, because we know a lot of times that because of their mental illness, that is the reason why they did what they did. So, and that was something I was working on back in Florida. Believe it or not, in the Tampa Bay area, we did not have a mental health court system. And I was on the steering committee to have a mental health court system, because when they go through a mental health court system, they know that somebody has a mental illness, so their sentence is going to be a little bit different. But yes, we are trying to work with the court system, with the jail system, for us to come in and to do support groups. Also to work with having more peers, like having a certified peer in the court. Again, trying to, help and maybe to, mentor the person. So we are trying to work with the court system on that. Yes, come back.
Didn't you say that incidents of mental illness in the United States is 20%?
Yes.
As a retired job that I require staff, that seems a little low to me. I'd like to bounce that off your manager. He is a retired staff, let's see if that sounds low to him.
Now remember though, that is for people that have been diagnosed. It's not to say that there's more people. That is the people that have actually been diagnosed. Right, so we all know that there's a lot more that's undiagnosed, but 20% have been diagnosed with experience at mental health. Yeah, so no, I agree with you. It is a lot more, and those numbers came from Mental Health America's 2023 mental health report.
One more question, are we ready?
Oh, thank you. So yes, our walk is going to be in October, and I believe next month we are going to have our website launched. So it'll be namiga.org. If you want to go to the next slide, I actually have. Here we go. So here's our information. Our website is namiga.org. So that's where we'll be launching it. We'll do some social media promotion. So that's where we'll have it. So Thank you so much. I'm here if you have any questions, or you can take a snapshot. You can go onto our website, but we are here to help. And again, thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate the good work you all are doing. You know, a lot of takeaways from the day. I think the one that really stands out to me, if you're going through a depressive episode or a mental health issue, any of the symptoms that were mentioned above, get professional help. You know, it's silly to think, you know, we would try to will ourselves through the flu or suck it up through cancer. I mean, this is something where a professional can make a drastic difference in someone's life. So, again, thank you for being here. On your behalf, we're going to make a donation to Polio Plus, which is Rotary International's effort to eradicate polio worldwide. Couple things. We do have some good programs coming up. Next week, interesting program. We're going to have Alicia Brady from Camp Sunshine, which is a camp a lot of you heard of. It supports kids who have cancer. So March 20th, we're going to have Sarah Morrison, the CEO of Shepherd Center here. March 27th, we're going to have our Star Student Teacher Program. And then on April 3rd, a really unique program over in Opelika. We're going to hear from a lady, Dina Little, who runs Storybook Farm. So it's been back. Howard, welcome to the club. Everybody please speak to it. Make you feel welcome. And have a great rest of the week. Return. Eric, let me get Eric. Thank you.